Hey y'all, Crystal here from ChristaCoDesign. Today I'm working up the Dakota fingerless gloves, and here I have the men's size. And these feature the twin cluster stitch, which is a really nice looking stitch. I am going to work up the smallest size I have in the pattern, which is toddler size today. And we are using worsted weight yarn and a 5.5mm crochet hook. I'm using Red Heart with Love, and I have two contrasting colors and my 5.5mm crochet hook. For the toddler size, I won't need quite as much yarn. For the medium, large, adult, and large, extra large, you'll need the most yarn. So you're going to have about 50 yards, and we're just going to divide that evenly between our two colors. For the toddler size, for child size, about 75 yards divided. Teen and small adult, 90 yards. Medium and large adult, you'll need 100 yards of yarn. And if you're making the large, extra large adult size, about 125 yards. Okay, so to make the smallest little toddler size, or any size really, we're going to start with the ribbing. For the ribbing, I am going to make a slightly smaller width for the toddler size, and for the subsequent sizes you'll make a little bit wider ribbing and obviously different lengths. So I'm going to say all of those things on camera, but I will try to link up as much information in the pattern description as I can. You can also get the written pattern on my website, ChristaCoDesign.com. These are the Dakota fingerless gloves. Okay, so first we start with ribbing, and for the toddler size I'm going to chain 7. Whoops. 3. For child size, also 7. For teen, small adult, and medium large adult, chain 9. And for extra large, chain 11. Okay, now on the second row, we are going to work in the second chain from our hook. So not the first one, but the next one. I'm going to flip it over and work into the back bump. And I'm just going to single crochet across for this first row of ribbing. There we go. So I changed 7 and skipped 1, so I have 6 stitches. I'm going to turn my work. Okay, so now here's where the ribbing part comes in. I'm going to chain 1 to start my row, and then I'm going to single crochet in the same stitch. The next stitch, I'm going to single crochet in the back loop. The back loop is not the loop closest to me, but the loop in the back or the furthest away. So I'll put my hook in the top of the stitch and go under that back loop. Then I'll just single crochet like normal and repeat that across until I have 1 stitch at the end, and then I'll just place a regular single crochet under both loops like normal in that stitch. So that's this one. Normal single crochet to end with. And it will take a few rows to see the ribbing work up. Now we're just going to repeat that 1 row, turn and repeat that again, and I'm going to do that for 16 rows total, or I get 4 inches for the toddler glove. You'll need 20 rows or 5 inches for child size, 24 rows or 6 inches for the teen, small adult. For the medium large adult, you'll need 28 rows or 7 inches, and for the extra large adult, 32 rows or 8 inches long. So that will be measured this way because you're going to be growing your rows. Okay, so I will crochet the rest of my ribbing off camera, and then I will meet you back here with our ribbing length ready, and I will show you how to join and continue on to the next part of our fingerless gloves. Okay, I have my 4 inches here for my ribbing. Again, I'm making the toddler size. So now you're going to fold your ribbing in half, and these are the short ends. This is the long end. We're going to slip stitch these short ends together to make a circle so we can work on the top here. Okay, so I'm going to chain one just to give me some movement there. And to slip stitch them together, I'm going to go down in the top and just through the back loop. And then on this one, I'm going to go down before the front loop and up through the middle stitch there and pull up here and through and slip. Try not to do this part too tightly because my slip stitches tend to be tighter than pretty much all other stitches. So I'm kind of pulling up my loops a little bit looser. We're just matching stitch for stitch here, so make sure they line up. Okay, that is the last one. So you see there, it's a nice ribbing-esque look even, so I don't feel the need to turn my slip stitch edges to the inside, but you are welcome to do that if you would like. Okay, so here we are going to chain one again, and we are going to work stitches evenly into this edge of our ribbing. For Toddler, I'm going to single crochet 18 stitches evenly around. If you remember, I have 16 rows, so I'm going to need to put more than one stitch per row in two places. So I can just put an extra one here at the join and maybe one other one across the way.
And for child size, you'll put 21 single crochets, 24 for teen, 27 for medium adult, and 30 for extra large.
So I'm going to go back into, let's do this. So this part can be pretty fiddly, but I like to get under 2 loops however I do it, and then I try to be as consistent as possible. So I have 1, and I mean consistent as in going into the same place. So I have 1, 2, and here I need to do 3, 4. So I'm going to go into this stitch here and under these 2 loops here, and just keep going around like that.
And then we'll join the round with a slip stitch to the first single crochet.
Okay, so now I am going to join my contrasting color and start my twin cluster stitch round. So I just cut my first color and pulled through there. Start with a slip knot on my hook, and I'm going to join at the same spot here, and we're going to start with a chain 2. I'm going to work over these tails so that I don't have as much to weave in, or they're more secure. So to begin our twin cluster stitch, we're going to start in the same stitch that we joined, which is the same one that our slip stitch is in. And the thing with the twin cluster is that it is worked over 3 stitches. So we're going to start in this one, we're going to skip the next one and finish the twin cluster in the third one. Okay, so I will yarn over, insert my hook back into that same stitch, going to yarn over again and pull up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Then I'm going to do that again 2 more times. So yarn over, insert it back into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I have my chain 2, and I have 2 parts of my twin cluster. I need 1 more. Yarn over and insert back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I'm going to have 4 loops on my hook when I'm ready to move on to the next part. So I will skip this next stitch, the next single crochet here, and I am going to repeat that process in the third stitch. So skip, work into here. So we'll yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 5 loops on my hook. Yarn over, insert back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. One more time. There we go. So basically we've started like a double crochet 1, 2, 3, skipped, start a double crochet 1, 2, 3 times. Now we're going to have 7 loops on our hook, 2, 4, 6, 7, and then we will yarn over and pull through all of these loops. And that is your twin cluster there. For this stitch, we are going to do a chain 2 after we finish our twin cluster. So in our pattern, it says begin the twin cluster in this stitch, skip this one, and then finish your twin cluster, and then chain 2. So here's my chain 2. If you find again that this round is tight, something you could do is add a chain, a third chain there. You just wouldn't count it. You would work into it as the chain 2 in the pattern. Okay, so now we are going to work in the very next stitch. We're not skipping any stitches here. We're going to start our next twin cluster stitch. Skip a stitch, finish our twin cluster here. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that makes 7 total. Yarn over and pull through all of those. Chain 2. And we'll just keep repeating that. Start in the next one, skip the middle stitch, finish in the third. Pull through, chain 2. Okay. You can see how it's a wider, bigger, looser stitch than our single crochet and our ribbing. So that's why I say if yours is working up tighter, there's a couple other things you can do. But for me, it's expanding. So hopefully that is working for you as well. But our tensions are all a little bit different. Okay, so on our last one, we are just going to join to the top. This is my chain 2. This is the top of my cluster stitch. So I am going to slip stitch through there. Now we are continuing to change colors every round for this one. So I just find it easiest to cut color and join again for each one. But if you prefer, you can let your color, you can just drop it, pull through on that last one and join the next color, and then carry it up. But especially with the video, it's a little bit easier to see if I just cut it. Okay, so for this part, we are going to make the thumb hole next. And so each size has a little bit different thumb hole need, obviously. So we're going to start by joining our new color to our first twin cluster stitch there. And then for toddler, I'm just going to chain 4. For child, it's 5. Teen, small adult is 6. Medium, large adult is 8. And extra large is 9. Then we are going to skip 4 stitches. And we will single crochet in the next stitch, which is on top of the next twin cluster there for me. It's actually a chain 1, but it's sitting on top because the cluster stitch comes off to the side, and then you have 2 chains. So that's the top of the cluster, and that's actually the top of the chain. But since they're off to the side, I have worded it in the pattern to say on the top because that seems to be the easiest identifier. So make your chain for your thumb hole, single crochet after you skip 4 stitches. Everyone doesn't skip the different number of stitches. Everybody skips 4, and then your chain will make a larger hole up that way. Excuse me. Okay, so for toddler and child size, you single crochet here. For the adult sizes, you are going to skip this one and then just place 2 double crochets in here. So for toddler and child, single crochet in the top of the next twin cluster after your thumb hole chain. For adult sizes, don't do this, just skip over it so you do have a bigger chain hole space for your thumb. And then all sizes are going to place 2 double crochets. So for adult sizes, that would be your first stitch, and this would be skipped. We'll put those here in our chain 2 space. Now we are going to go around and single crochet. We're skipping this one. We're going to work into the top of the twin cluster, and then 2 double crochets in our space here. And just keep repeating that around. Work a single crochet in the top, 2 double crochets in the chain space. So single crochet in the top, and then 2 double crochets here. I'm going to work over that tail to secure it a little bit. Okay. Then we're just going to slip stitch to our thumb hole space. You can put it in the chain or just in the space itself, whatever works for you. Just know we're going to need to work into that space for the thumb hole. Okay, so that's our next round. And again, we're going to change colors again. And then we'll start our next twin cluster stitch. Going to join to our thumb hole space, and we'll start the round with a chain 2, and then we'll begin our first twin cluster in the thumb hole space, and we'll finish our first twin cluster there. So you don't need to work into the chains, just the space is enough, but we're pretending to skip a stitch in between since we're just working into this thumb hole space here. So we'll just begin like normal. 1, 2, 3, and then this is the part where we would skip one, so I'm going to smash it that way. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So when we have 7, yarn over and pull through all of those. And like normal, we're going to do our chain 2. Okay, so this is where the pattern gets different depending on which size you're making. So for the toddler and child sizes, 1 twin cluster in the thumb hole is enough. And so you will start your next one in the next single crochet stitch. For the adult sizes, you are going to need teen, small adult, medium, large, extra large, any of the adult sizes. You're going to need to start your twin cluster in the same thumb hole spot. Let me show you on the adult one. So here on the adult, we have our thumb hole twin cluster that we just did on our toddler size, and then we started our cluster stitch here, 1, 2, 3, and then we skipped the first double crochet and we finished our twin cluster in the second. Again, another difference from the adult size is that you didn't put a single crochet in the top of that twin cluster. You skipped that and just put 2 double crochets in that space. So complete twin cluster, first part, second part. For the toddler size, we're going to start here, our second one. For adult sizes, you start it in the thumb hole chain space. And then we'll skip our next stitch. This applies to both children and adult sizes. Skip this double crochet and then finish your twin cluster in the last. Pull through all, chain 2. Okay, so there we go. We can compare. Adult sizes, 1 full twin cluster, start it in the chain thumb hole space. Toddler and child size, 1 full twin cluster only, start it in your single crochet, finish it in your third stitch over, which is the second double crochet. Adult finishes it in the second double crochet there. Okay, so now we just go on repeating our twin cluster stitch row, which now we're working into the first single crochet. Oops, didn't grab a stitch there. To start our twin cluster stitch. And then we're skipping the middle double crochet and finishing our twin cluster in the third. Chain 2. Start, skip, finish. And keep repeating that around. Okay, I'm going to slip stitch our last chain 2 there to the top of the first twin cluster we made. That's our starting chain 2, so we're just skipping over that. Okay, we're going to pull through and join our contrasting color and work another round of 1 single crochet and 2 double crochets, and then it becomes a simple 2 row repeat. We've done all the tricky bits, so it should be simple to finish, just getting the length right for your size hand. So that's not the thumb hole, that's the join. Where did it go? There it is. This little bitty toddler size. Okay. So now we're on round 5, joining to the top of our first twin cluster, which is to our first twin cluster stitch. Oh, let's skip that one, that's right, because we're going to do our single crochet here, and then 2 double crochet in the space. And we'll just repeat that around and join it back at the end. Okay, after we get back around, we'll join to the top here. Switch colors. Okay, so for this round, we're just beginning our twin cluster in our single crochet stitch. Get over these tails. Chain 2. Start our twin cluster in the first stitch. Skip the middle. Finish our twin cluster in the next. Pull through chain 2. And then keep repeating that around. Okay, so for the toddler size, this is about the right length. We are going to add one last round, which is just a single crochet round in the contrast color. But for the other larger sizes, you'll need to repeat those last 2 rounds. So a round of single crochet and 2 double crochets and a round of twin clusters. For the child size, you'll repeat that again for a total of 8 rounds. From here to here, you'll have 6 for toddler. You'll repeat this again for 8 for child. For teen and small adult, you'll repeat that rounds 5 and 6 again for a total of 8 rounds also. And then for all the adult sizes, you'll repeat these 2 more times, so you'll have a total of 10 rounds. Okay, so just single crocheting. Remember, in the chain space here we're placing 2 and then 1 in top. If you feel like this is the single crochet around is too tight, then go ahead and place more single crochets. An easy spot would be like right here to go ahead and put 1 in and 1 there, and then put 2 in this spot. And since single crochet is going to be a little bit tighter, but yarn stretches, so once the little ones start cramming their hands in there, it seems to stretch out pretty good. You could also go up a hook size. That's always a good way to mitigate a tight edge as well. All right, let's find that tail so I can pull it. It's a little loose. I don't see it. Okay. All right, slip stitch and finish off. Then it's time to weave all those ends in. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this pattern. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching. And you can visit ChristaCoDesign.com for more free tutorials and patterns.